hast seen me groping, hardly ever answering. I shall be roaming, bursting all the boundaries of heart, evermore moving towards thee, to thy vast, unthrobbing heart. Come thou to me, O Lord, O come at last to me. Centuries and centuries I have waited now for thee. Through endless incarnations I've called out for thy name, searching by the streamlets of all my silvery dreams. I know that thou must come at last to steal the flowers of my heart. In sorrow thrills I pipe my love, I sadly sing my song to thee. And yet I know my love must reach thee, though many lives I have to wait on mountain crags of high devotion. I sadly sing my song, my song, my song.
Meditation differs from prayer primarily, we could say, in this respect, that prayer is talking to God and meditation is listening for His answer. Meditation is communion. We have to call to Him. We do this through prayer, through chanting. But then we have to be receptive. We have to receive His love in our hearts, His joy in our souls, His guidance in our minds. In many ways God comes to us. But He can't come unless we quieten our own minds, get rid of all the mental static of restlessness, and listen for His footsteps in the silence of our minds. So mentally offer yourself up to Him and do it in such a way as to feel His nearness.
Om Shanti Shanti. Welcome again, friends. Today's topic is in Om, in the Om vibration, in the Om light, in the Om sound, that nothing can touch you. I like to start with a few quotes from Swamiji. You are not a physical body, but the blissful manifestation of Om. Another, live in the consciousness of Om. One who constantly sings Om during his activities and with his whole being makes his life a continuous song of joy. And the universe is projected from God through vibration. God's nature is bliss. And to share His joy, He created us through that cosmic Om vibration. When we commune with Om, we enter into and flow with the stream of God's love. Om is Divine Mother, existing in the heart of all things. And from Master, Om not only proceeds from God, It is God. And I like to play just the sound, this tanpura, the background sound of all Indian classical music is the sound of the tanpura. And it really is the sound of Om. It's such a wonderful sound, and it's, as Master said, the voice of God, the voice of Divine Mother. It's who and what we really are, and the essence of our being. We are that vibration, we are that sound, we are that light that emanates from the chakras and the spiritual eye. The sounds of the chakras merge into the one great sound of Om that we hear in meditation for those who are following this particular path. But also you can hear Om in the ocean, in the crashing of the waves, and the sound of the wind and the rain, and the sound of the waterfall, and the sound of thunder. These are all reminders, because Om is in everything, every plant, every tree, every animal, within each one of us, and everything in existence. That Om vibration is there, and we can hear it as the comforter, as the sound that accompanies us from birth, from every incarnation. It's the silent friend, God, who is always with us. And as we listen more and more, we become calm. As Swamiji said, we become centered in the soul, centered in the self. We become uplifted, and we become hypnotized in this world, that we are this personality, we're this race, we're this religion, we're this nationality, we're this color, whatever it is. But these are all part of the outer form. When we can go deeper inside, we begin to feel truly that we are a manifestation of God, a wave on the ocean of God, the Om vibration, the Om sound. Master once he told of this particular vision when he was in Calcutta, and I happen to be in Calcutta right now. He said he was, in his youth, I believe it was, he was sitting on his bed meditating, doing Kriya, and suddenly he was transported into the body of a captain of a ship. And there was a battle going on, and he was shot. And he said, I could feel the blood flowing, and I realized that I was dead. And then suddenly he was transported back into the body of the youth who was sitting on the bed meditating, practicing Kriya. And he practiced for a while, and then he was back in the body of the captain of the ship. And this went back and forth a couple of times. And then he said, I asked God, am I sitting on my bed meditating, practicing Kriya? Or am I in the body, dead on the battlefield, in the body of the captain of that ship? And the answer was very clear. Neither. You realize you're dreaming that you are sitting meditating, and you're dreaming that you are dead. You are neither of these dreams. You are the light that created the dreams. And he said, my delusion fled and I became that great light. And that's for all of us. We think that this is happening, and we think that that pain is happening, and this delusion, and this problem, and this difficulty. And they are. But on one level, but we know that always beneath everything is that great vibration of God, of Om. Master would say to one disciple who was always in problems and difficulties, he would say, come out of that body, come out of that body. And because the disciple didn't realize that he was just in the delusion and his true self was the Om. And Master told Dr. Lewis that in Om, nothing can touch you. And Dr. Lewis, he was out sailing once, and a big storm came up, and his boat nearly capsized. And he remembered Master's words, and he went deep into himself. He looked at the point between the eyebrows, and he felt the vibration of Om. He may have seen the light. I don't know that part of the story. But suddenly the storm started to calm. He became very calm and centered, and he was able to get back to shore. And Master, during that time when Doctor was in trouble, Master was pacing up and down in the place where he was. He was reading a story about the sea, but he was pacing up and down, and he was saying, Doctor's in trouble. He's in real trouble. Doctor's in trouble. I've got to help him. And then when Dr. Lewis got back home safely, and because Master, he knew that Doctor was in trouble, and he reached out to him and he helped him. Doctor attuned himself to God, to Guru, and the Master could feel that he needed his help. And so when Doctor walked back into his house safely on the beach, all of his relatives had been waiting for him and praying for him, and he finally got back home, and the phone rang, and it was Master. And he says, Doctor, you almost got a little wet. And Doctor knew that Master knew that he needed him, and Doctor tuned in at that time. And I think that's the lesson for all of us, to keep tuning in, attune. Master said, read my poem, Samadhi, and realize that that's who you are. And one of the lines of that poem, he would say often, I, the cosmic sea, watch the little ego floating in me. We are the cosmic sea, but we think we're just the ego. And so as we practice the Om technique, for those of you who have it, some of you don't, but as you can feel that that's your vibration, even if you're not doing that practice, but you become so much more expansive, so much more beyond the problem, so much more in a higher state of consciousness, so much more in a blissful state. There was an interesting situation. I don't have time to go into it now, but where I'm staying here at the hotel last night, and it was a stressful situation, and I felt a lot of it was difficult, and so we tried to remedy the situation. But underneath it all, honestly, I still felt joy, even if the situation was stressful, even if it was unpleasant, even if I didn't like it. But underneath it all, there was still that river of joy. And I know that comes from years and years of meditation, and meditation on Om, and meditation on the light and on the vibration of God. And at a certain point, I just could start laughing and, different things. And one of my friends said, well, it's good you still have your sense of humor. And it's the sense of humor, but it's also just the river of God. It's always there. But we forget, and we think we're in the dream. We're hypnotized. But as we meditate more and more, we go back into that vibration of Om. So how can we stay in that vibration more? Master Toad said, of course, to practice the Om technique if you have that. I can't go into that because some of you probably don't have it. But as you practice that, as I said, you become more and more uplifted and more in that vibration. He said it's not enough to hear that sound, but to merge. Just try to release the difficulties and the problems and the worries and the fears, and try to just release it into that sound. I find that music really helps. Master said chanting's half the battle. If you can chant, all of our chants are on the vibration of Om. Swamiji said his music is attuned to the vibration of Om. So as you chant, you just begin to release the grip of ego and the hold on the body, and you begin to expand, and you begin to feel that you are Om, that beautiful chant, I am Om, omnipresence, all pervading, all blessed. I am Om, Om, Om. And so chanting that chant and then doing the Om technique and just going beyond this world into that vibration, playing the harmonium, playing an instrument like this small tanpura. Tanpuri is very easy to play. I'm just plucking the strings, and you can just chant Om, or get the recordings of Swamiji, Master's voice singing, and just begin to sing. Open your heart by singing and feeling you're just dissolving the dream of this world. And you find that you just, once after a kirtan, how do you feel? Completely uplifted, completely in Om, completely in that vibration. You don't walk out of there thinking about your problems. You walk out of there in a blissful state. And so chanting, if you have the recordings, if you haven't, I would say if you're at all musically inclined, to get an instrument and start playing. You can play what I played today, just just over and over. I just taught a few people that just last weekend. So simple and so easy, but so powerful and effective. And what happens after that? When the stress and the tension and all is gone, you can meditate and you feel God's presence. As sound, as light, or however, as peace, as joy, but you can just let go. We have to learn to let go of this world, and Master's given the techniques. Another thing we can do is at other times, if you have the techniques of doing this, chanting Om at the chakras, it's very powerful. Some of you have this technique, some of you may not, but if you do, just go into that. When I'm saying, especially when you have difficulties, go into these practices. That's what they're for. The tanpura, the harmonium, the stringed instruments, Swamiji said, calm the brain, soothe the nerves, get rid of stress. And so does this technique. The Om technique, chanting Om at the chakras, you just begin to feel like you're just above. You're tuned in to the deepest vibration of your whole being, and the problems start dissolving away. You can mentally chant Om during the day, or Om Guru. So beautiful, Om Guru, Om Guru. If you're feeling distressed, you're feeling difficulties crowd around you, everyone has them. But chanting Om Babaji, Om Babaji, one of the gurus, chanting their name, or Om Divine Mother, Om. Chanted mentally, sometimes you chant it out loud if you need to, but you can stay in that vibration by the chanting. You can chant Om Tat Sat, bringing the hands forward and back, or just Om, touching the hands forward, make a circle around your body. And I can't do it sitting in this chair, but I think many of you know the practice, and these are very protective. Stay in the vibration of Om. That's the vibration of the masters. It's the vibration of God. Of course, there are other practices that we do that put you in attunement with Om. You go deep enough in Hangsa, it leads you into Om. You go deep enough in Kriya, you hear the Om sound. And so all of those practices help. I said too, playing the music in your house, play it in your car, play the Om, Swamiji chanting Om, the various chants of Om, or any of the chants, really, they're all attuned to Om. And finally, to pray for people. We rub our hands, we hold them up, and we chant Om. Pray for any situation in your life that's difficulty by sending out the vibration of Om, chanting Om. Feel it in you and feel it going through you into the situation, into a person who needs healing, into your own life, your family, whatever. But you feel, Master said the channel is blessed by what flows through it. So as you're chanting and sending vibrations of Om to other people, it's blessing you. It's coming into you as well. I want to end with an amazing story that I got off of the Ananda.org website. I've told this story once before, but probably most of you haven't heard it. Then we'll go into questions and answers. So first of all, it says, this is from Nayaswami Bharat's one of his blogs or something he wrote on the Om technique, maybe from his book on Om, which is fabulous, by the way. He says here, when Om came, a lady once said to Paramhansa Yogananda, all my troubles vanished. And then Nayaswami Bharat goes on to say, a friend who I will call Nancy told me recently how her troubles had also vanished in the consciousness of Om. Nancy was waiting to make a deposit at her bank when suddenly she found herself in the middle of a bank robbery. It was a highly stressful situation, and Nancy said she lost it emotionally. After the robbery, Nancy was disappointed in herself for reacting so emotionally. To change this tendency in herself, she began chanting Om all day long in one form or another. Whenever there was a tense situation, Nancy would silently and lovingly call on the healing power of Om to calm herself and others. Om is the great comforter, and Paramhansa Yogananda said that when we are in that consciousness, nothing can touch us. 3 years later, Nancy was at her bank and another bank robbery occurred. I hope she changed her bank. This time, it was a much more violent one. During this bank heist, Nancy was knocked to the floor, but her constant practice of thinking of and chanting Om kept her calm and centered. As Nancy began crawling discreetly away from the robbers, a hysterical woman latched onto her, and she guided the terrified woman out of sight of the robbers, where they both were safe. Nancy attributed her calmness to her practice of tuning in to the unifying presence of Om. What an incredible and fantastic story. I can say I haven't been in that much danger, but that's a wonderful story to keep in mind. I'll ask Nitendra to join me now on screen, and we have a couple of questions.
Yes, Dhyanaji. I'll just share the list of questions. Dhyanaji, the first one is, all our lives we have been living thinking that what we will get if we do this or if we do that. How can we change that hardwired attitude from getting to giving?
I think that pain helps you to give. If you're in, like this woman in this incredible story, she thought that of that other woman as well. I mean, the other woman latched onto her, but she helped her. They were in a stressful situation. I think situations like that, painful situations, times when you're in trouble, that you tend to think that of other people, at least we do, devotees do. And so I think that situations will occur and you find yourself, if you're on the path and you practice meditation, you practice everything that Master gave, I don't think you immediately think of yourself. Just like when COVID was here, I mean, we were online all the time, helping other people, talking to people. You yourself went to the hospital with people to help them out. And I think our reaction is automatically that. So how can we do that more and better? I think we just try to do our best and head in the right direction. But I think for the most part, a disciple of Master, a devotee, unless they're really caught in ego, I think we automatically will want to think of others. And even if we can't do it all the time, I think naturally we will try to do it. And I think it will get better and better.
Thank you, Janaji. The next question is, we remember to be in tune when we are meditating or when we are in a satsang like this. But when suddenly a disaster strikes us in the cold light of the day, how can we remain in Om during those times?
Well, it's tough. I'm not going to say it's easy. I mean, to immediately, but I think people think of God. You know, maybe not think of Om right away, but I mean, like the situation that happened with me yesterday, it was uncomfortable, I have to say, and I didn't immediately think of Om, but I did think of Master, and that's Om. So, I mean, I think something will come to your mind, one of the gurus or God or Divine Mother or um, but I think it comes over time. That's what it is. These things don't come automatically. You won't tomorrow think, okay, now I'm in Om all the time. You just don't. You have to keep. This woman had been practicing. You have to be practicing it, and the result of your practice comes into your life. Isn't it so? You can't live something in life that you don't have inside yourself. So it comes from meditation, practicing the technique regularly. If you're not practicing yet, maybe you're on the way, but it's a powerful practice. It's no joke. It does protect you. It does help you because you become centered. You become uplifted. You become calm. You become peaceful in yourself. And situations occur around you. Like we were driving in Calcutta the other day. The traffic's terrible. I mean, it's awful in the NCR as well, but I mean, we were in a part of town. I hope I never have to go there again. It was awful. Then we got a ticket. I mean, it goes on and on. But I mean, it was very stressful, but we were joyfully in the car, We did what we had to do. But devotees have a way to get uplifted, and it comes from a strong, deep base of spiritual practice. If you don't have that base, you're going to be all over the map. But if you have that base, things will happen and you find yourself, okay, this is all right. I don't like it, but it's happening and I'm not going to fall apart. So, after the incident last night, I found a lot of things to laugh about. I couldn't stop laughing at a certain point. I said, why am I laughing? Well, because there's joy inside. And Master's showing me this happened, but you still have the joy. So let it go. So I think that will happen for people. The more you practice, the more of a strong base you have to fall back on.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. The last question we had, but I think you've already mentioned about the tools and techniques that we can use. So
Yeah,
that's
I did. Okay. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Natendra. Bye-bye.